Welcome to another semifinals edition of AGT Cast. In this week's episode, we'll cover the second week of semifinal performances and the results, and then we'll look ahead to the finals. I am Cody Patterson, along with someone else that wants to rule the world. This is Cody Mims.
Hello.
Were you excited about the semifinals? We're all done.
I was. This was an absolutely fabulous night. Um, there was so much great stuff. Even the stuff that wasn't great, I thought was entertaining. This episode, I think, is just why we watched AGT. I thought it was a really good one. Did you like it?
I did. I thought this was a really good crowd. It was very exciting. Had some exciting stuff in the results. And we're going to get to all that in just a minute. But first, we have a couple of announcements we're going to make.
Okay, so the first announcement is next week during the finals and the finale, we're going to be doing a couple of live streams. So on the first one, on the performance night on Tuesday, will be me solo streaming, basically just reactions to the show, and maybe I'll look at some chat rooms or take some questions if anybody has any. So basically, if you need someone to watch the show with, you can watch it with me Tuesday night, and that'll be probably streamed on YouTube. So subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and you'll find out when that is. On the finale, Wednesday night, when everybody knows it's a big party, Cody Patterson will join in on the fun, and we're going to pretty much do the same thing for the finale, and then afterwards, we're going to be doing a live podcast. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. We're kind of breaking new ground here on AGT Cast, our first live podcast. We can answer questions. We can, talk about things that just happened. I know we've been getting our podcast out a few days after the results. Well, this will be fresh to everyone. We'll still be on the high of the results. I think it's going to be real exciting.
Yeah, and that'll also come out later in an edited audio version if you can't make that. And it sort of ties into our next announcement also.
Yeah, so I didn't get to see seasons 8, 9, or 10. I stopped watching after season 7 when Olate Dogs won. I was real disappointed in America. I pretty much went on a boycott of America's Got Talent. Well, when Simon joined this season, I was a little interested in it. I had been away for a few seasons. He was coming in. I was interested to see how he would do the show, so I came back. But what we're going to do, NBC on their website has seasons 9 and 10. So we're going to go back and we're going to rewatch 9 and 10. Unfortunately, season 8 is not available at this time. If it ever comes available, we may add that. But for right now, we're going to do 9 and 10. We're going to look at starting that probably the last week in September. We want to take a little break, catch up on anything that maybe we hadn't been able to do since we've been busy with AGT and the podcast the last couple of months. So we can take a little bit of a break, a week off or so, come back the end of September, and we're just going to roll right into season 9 at the very beginning. I haven't seen it. Cody Mims has seen every bit of it, so it's going to pretty much be my reactions. I've tried to avoid spoilers. I've tried to avoid kind of seeing any screenshots or reading any updates. I've tried to avoid that as much as I possibly can. I know that some of the winners have been on this season. I've tried to ignore them. I've tried to put them out of my mind so that I can go into these seasons as fresh as possible with a clear mind and kind of just pick through the acts and see if I can predict who's going to move on. Cody Mims is kind of just going to be there to give his input. It may be fun. It might be fun for you to kind of just rewatch these acts a second time and maybe have a new perspective on them after you've already seen them once. But he's going to try to prevent from spoiling it for me and giving away who's moving on and what's going to happen. I'm going to try to watch it as a new watcher, even though season 9 is now 2 seasons old. So are you ready for that?
Yeah. So if you have seen these seasons before, or if you want to watch them along with us or just engage in the memory, you'll remember that there are some great narratives and exciting things that happen. So it'll be fun to look at again. And these might not be in our regular podcast feed, so as not to disturb those who only want live coverage. We're not really quite sure, but these might be also streamed on YouTube. You can watch them live. There might be some video elements. So we're excited about that. It's going to be kind of a different thing, but just as exciting. So, yeah, make sure to join us for that.
Yeah, we're going to try to do about one a week. I've calculated it out. If we do about one episode a week, we might take a week off or so during the holidays. We've kind of left a little buffer room there. But if we continue on and we do every episode, we'll probably skip like the audition recap episode. If we've seen all the auditions, we've talked about those. We probably don't want to recap a recap. So we skip those. We'll probably finish somewhere around mid-April, which would then give us about a month before season 12 starts. So we'll just go right back into we'll kind of be getting ready, maybe hearing some rumors and some stuff that's going on for season 12. We may jump back in April and start talking about that. But as far as our rewatch, this will kind of get us through all the way through the winter, partway through the spring, about through mid-April that we'll finish this rewatch. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, so going into our performances, our first performance was Jana Brown. We found out that she has been accepted into a performance arts high school. She's saying Katy Perry's Rise. What did you kind of think of her opening package and her performance here?
She gave you the positive update that you were looking for.
Yes, she did. Yay! Not another downer. She said they've moved in with somebody. She's been accepted somewhere. Her future is looking bright.
Yeah. So as for the performance, she came out. She had such a hip look going. I was kind of surprised by that, but it's interesting. She had perfect vocals as she always does. Um, that wasn't really a surprise. But as I was, listening to how clear everything sounded, she just totally sucked me in. It was absolutely captivating. It was absolutely her best performance. And I was very surprised by how amazing I found it because I'm usually not super into the singers. Jana Brown hasn't been my favorite this season, but I do think that this is the best musical performance I have heard all season.
Yeah, this was absolutely her best performance. I didn't have high expectations for her coming into this. I was kind of blah, uh, but it definitely set the mood for the rest of the night.
Yeah. And I was really surprised to find out that this was a Katy Perry song, too, because she was so enthralling in her performance. It was great.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with a couple of Katy Perry songs. I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. What California Girls, kind of her big songs. So I wasn't aware this was a Katy Perry song. It was really exciting, really exhilarating to hear her sing it.
Yeah. I'm glad you like it, too, because I wasn't sure what everybody else thought of it, but uh, I was just so taken aback. I wasn't expecting to like that so much at all.
No, it had a lot of power, a lot of energy behind it. Simon did his trademark misdirection. I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was incredible. Um,
Yeah.
but no, it was a lot of fun. How he set the bar. It set the bar real high. After kind of watching everything else, though, I had her as a Duncan save. I thought it definitely set the mood for the night, but I still had her as a Duncan save in the results.
I wish she had been a Duncan save.
I do too, and we'll get into the Duncan saves because that was a little disappointing, I think, for both of us.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to say about Jana Brown?
I did vote for her. I gave her 8 votes, which I feel like is the most I've given to anyone besides Deadly Games in a while, but it was not my most of the night. So,
Oh, so you gave
yeah.
more than 8 votes. Okay, how exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So our next performance was Caden Bart Rocket. I loved this package with the bicycles and the treehouse. They're really being kids. What did you think of the package and then his performance?
I thought the package was cute. I guess their carpenter father probably built the treehouse. But yeah, it's great to see him and his sister being cute as ever. It set them up really nicely, but I didn't really like the performance very much at all. Um, I think whatever force he did was pretty obvious, but he handled the shoes line well when he was talking to Nick. That was a good element of the performance, but magic wise, it wasn't very strong. He made some people appear, and I guess the house sort of fell over a little bit. I don't know. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was basically borderline Caden Bart Rocket, pretty much what you expect. Um, the one thing I will say is I love how they do the same pose at the end of every trick.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that. That's pretty interesting. You pointed that out. I haven't noticed they do the same pose. I haven't really just paid that much detail to it. That's interesting.
Yeah, him and his sister like line up back to back. They're like they do some little slick thing.
And like cross their arms and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cute. That just seems like what two siblings would do. That's pretty cute.
Mhm.
I didn't really care for this performance either. I thought it was cute, it was fun, but it still felt very kiddish and amateurish to me. It didn't seem up to the level that a semifinals performance should be. Um, when they brought one of their uh, classmates or when they made one of their classmates appear, Rebecca, she was looking around like she was very starstruck, like she was just taking in the entire stage, like she was surprised to be there. Of course, they had a lot of problems with the schoolhouse. They kept having to try to push it up, keep it in place. It didn't feel smooth at all. It just felt like two kids were putting on a magic show for the neighborhood or something and just having some fun. So I did not have them going through at all. I figured they'd finish at the very bottom.
Yeah, and there wasn't even a lot going on in this trick. Like usually when we say that a magic performance wasn't smooth enough, it's because there's so many different things happening. But this time they just sort of made some people appear, and there was still quite a bit of friction in it.
Yeah, it was not good at all. We're expecting more out of a Magic performance at this point. I know the Magic's acts have not been great. You weren't a big fan of what John Dorenbos did. Um, Blake Voigt's wasn't that good to me. I know you kind of liked it, but at this point, a Magic trick should just be top notch. They should be just blowing people away, and it just felt like I was watching two kids. They commented that musicality, they were watching, they felt like they were watching a choir sing. Well, I felt like I was just watching two kids put on a performance for some friends and family.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I agree with you. In my Monday night predictions, I had him dead last as well. I guess they weren't Monday night this time, but in my early predictions.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm guessing you didn't put any votes. You didn't give him any votes.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Our next performance is Katie Lynn. From her package, I was trying to figure out if that was the Texas Gulf Coast or maybe the Pacific Coast. I couldn't really tell if she was trying to show kind of her home area or if she was out on the West Coast. She sang "I Hope You Can Dance," or I'm sorry, "I Hope You Dance" by Leanne Womack. This is one of this is a song I have on my playlist. I listen to it pretty frequently. She said it was her mom's favorite song. What did you think of Katie Lynn?
I thought this performance was pretty boring. I did not know this song going into it, but Katie Lynn is Katie Lynn. She did what she does. In my opinion, Jaina completely destroyed her, but I guess there are probably some country fans out there that really like Katie, so, more power to them. But this was not the performance for me.
No, this was not her best. I like the song, but I didn't feel it was her best performance either. Jana Brown just blew her away. Jana Brown was definitely the better singer that night. Well, sorry, better than Katie Lynn that night. It just seemed very, very blah. Um, I like the song. I didn't like the way that she did the song. Um, so I did like the way they had the stage set up for her, though. I like the little porch setting, the candles. It seemed very intimate. Um, but just as far as the song, it was just very, very vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have her going through it all either. I didn't think people would would just she may have a good following, just not enough to beat out Jana Brown or one of the others.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah. Do you have anything else for Katie Lynn?
No, sorry, I don't have a lot to say about her.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Next, we have Viktor Kee. I really liked his opening package with the balls floating around him everywhere. And then, of course, he just did his same magic trick he's done every single week. What'd you think of Victor?
I feel like we saw nothing new this time. So that was kind of disappointing because I was really looking forward to his performance coming into this, but I wouldn't even say that this one was his best or most refined or whatever. I like the last one a lot better, so I think this is kind of a downgrade.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I've seen the same performance every single week. When I saw the opening package, I was starting to think, oh, we're going to see something new, something exciting with him. I think he was twirling balls around, and they kind of went into this spiral cone shape, and I was just like, okay, we're going to see something different. No, it was the same exact act. In fact, he did do something new. He dropped a couple of balls, which in the Piers era, and this just blew up Reddit, in the Piers era, Piers would have buzzed him right away for that. So for the judges not to buzz him, or maybe they didn't even notice that he did it, that just immediately is, a non-vote for me. It just turns me off when they've told us, when we've been told that he is this world-class juggler, and then he drops a couple of balls. It just didn't do it for me at all that night.
Well, you make a good point. Last time he performed, I think he did drop one then also. So,
Okay, see, I must have missed that. I guess the judges may have missed this one, and I think I may have missed that one.
yeah, I mean, last time he was a lot slicker. I think this time I wasn't sure. I kind of thought it was supposed to be part of the performance, because it was sort of slower. But yeah, you make a good point that he is supposed to be this world class juggler, and this is the second week in a row we've seen him drop a ball. So that's kind of disappointing. But I'm not too upset that we're gonna see him in the finals because he brings some good things to the table.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that he did get to move on to the finals. I know he has a good following. I think that there are a couple of other acts that I would rather have seen in the finals, and when we get into the results, we'll definitely talk about those. Uh, Howie called him the Barishnikov of juggling. Do you know who Barishnikov is?
No, I don't understand that reference.
Okay, Barishnikov was this world class dancer back in the I want to say it was probably the 70s, 80s, somewhere on maybe 60s, somewhere on there. But yeah, he was world class dancer from Eastern Europe, probably even part of the Soviet Union. So he was just trying to compare him to this big dancer that that's from the same area that Viktor Kee is from. So that's all. And then of
Okay.
course Heidi made a couple of ball jokes
Mm-hmm.
that she had to kind of plug in there. So I did have him as a Duncan save because I thought people would vote for him, even though I don't think they should. Did you throw any votes Victor's way?
I did not this week, but you're not really his biggest fan in general, huh?
I'm not. I when I watch AGT, I want to see different things each week. I want to see them get better. I want to see them wow me each and every week. I don't want to see the same act every single week, doing the same thing. It's a juggler. The passing zone's a little bit different. The passing zone can do different types of juggling. They throw comedy into it. They have some danger to their act. Victor Key has these lighted up balls. Every single week, he drops them from the ceiling. He does the exact same juggling every single week. I know I was big on Sophie Dossie at the beginning. I've kind of come off Sophie Dossie a little bit. We'll get into Sophie here in a little bit. She did change up her act some, but I kind of feel the same about singers a little bit. Singers can change their song, and they may do a song that fits them. It may not. They may not. They're kind of up in the air. I mean, I know they sing every week, but they can do different types of songs. Victor has done pretty much the same act every single week. I want to see something. I want to see him juggle something that no one else can juggle. So that's all.
Okay.
I think he's a great juggler. I know we've read on Reddit that he performs with Cirque du Soleil, and that's great. I know all the performers on Cirque du Soleil are just fantastic. But I think he only does like what a maybe a 10, 15, 20 minute the act. It's very short. It's a part of a larger performance. I think that's where he fits in more, not for a larger uh, solo act in Vegas.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he does only juggle one thing. I would say that he has sort of been doing some different stuff, mostly different tricks with like where the balls are coming from and everything like that. So, I would say like the whole vertical depth of his performance is sort of something else that he brings into it, and also he brings a lot of dance into it as well. And I think he's pretty graceful with that, and he's moving around while he's juggling, and that's something worth counting. But yeah, I can see not liking this act.
No, you're right. He does bring in dancing, but for me, it's just each week it just hasn't been entertaining. It was great in auditions. It was fun to watch in judges cuts. After that, I've just not been. I've just been very blah on Victor Key. So
Okay.
yeah. Our next performance is Lincoln Bridge. They had another sad story in their opening. They were walking in the L.A. canals, which was kind of fun to see. And then they had some pictures of them when they were kids, which related right into their song 7 Years by Lucas Graham. Are you familiar with this song at all?
Sadly, I am.
Okay.
I have here written in all caps N with like 17 O's after it, because that is what I said when I heard that stupid music box twinkle. Um, in the intro, I knew they were going to pull out something emotional, similar to last time. And I thought, I bet this time they'll pick something tasteful that plays to their strengths, and it'll be way better than last time. And I really could not have been more wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the song, so I put down. I thought this was much better than them singing Willie Nelson. I
Okay.
did like the vocals. I did like the vocals. Um, they kind of each brought out their own piece. I also thought they looked sharp in their sport jackets. They weren't wearing the black t-shirts anymore. They actually got dressed up. I thought they looked great. They looked like they were there for $1 million act. But not familiar with the song. I can't relate it like you did. I'm glad that you are familiar with it, and you can bring that perspective that you didn't like it at all. I can totally understand that. Uh, but not being familiar with it, I thought it was much better than when they sang Willie Nelson. Mel B said that they put Boys to Men to shame, which I don't know about that. They were good. I don't know if they're Boys to Men level yet. So.
Okay. I didn't really like this at all. I was kind of, after they did it, I was like, I don't know what I just watched. I thought they sounded pretty bad. I didn't like their textures very much. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I was predestined to hate this because I have a lot of disdain for that song. I'll put a review in the show notes that will explain my feelings on it pretty well. But
Okay, good. Because
yeah,
I want to hear. I want you to elaborate on this. I kind of like to know the history behind this now. So
I
yeah, I'll read it up on the show notes.
okay. So my mind was kind of just blown by how bad it was. I obviously I'm alone in that. I was very surprised they made the top three, but I thought they sounded kind of off. But maybe it's just me.
Um, no, again, I thought they were fine. I did have them as a Duncan save though. I I liked it, but I wasn't for sure. Some people might be on the fence about it. No, that's pretty much what there is to say about Lincoln Bridge. And since I'm not familiar with the song a lot, I don't have a lot to say about it other than I did like it. So, did you happen to give them any votes at
I
all?
did not.
You did
It's
not. Okay,
probably
that's
my least favorite act of the night.
okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. Now we get into one of the acts that I was happy to see tonight is the passing zone. I absolutely loved this package that they did. I thought
Yeah,
it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
So
it built some tension too. Um, I was very excited to see Simon put in his place, and they were very funny about it. But I was just a teeny bit worried.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um, they of course then they went right into their show, and these guys, I think they definitely rebounded from last week. Um, they brought all the comedy that they had into it. One of the guys dropped a torch. Then the other guy was like, "Oh, here's a dot for each torch that you've ever dropped," and his shirt is just covered in dots. Um,
Right, that's a classic joke, but it was very funny to see them act it out.
yes, yes, it was absolutely hilarious. And then the way they get Simon all dressed up with a helmet on with some torches sticking out of it, and then they're throwing torches back and forth, and AGT did the replay of Simon's face. I bet you absolutely loved seeing this.
Yeah, it was great. They got him up there. They told him not to move, and when you're in that position, not moving is the scariest thing.
Yeah,
So
he
this was a
kept
lot of
nodding
fun.
his. Just gonna say he kept nodding his head back and forth and moving the helmet around. So,
Right.
yeah. Sorry. Go on there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. This was great to watch live. I wish you could have seen it live. It was just really fun. When they when they did all this Satan presentation and everything, there was just amazing happiness at the judges' table. Um, they really know how to put on a show. So this is, I think, this is really what they were made to do. It was great to see them in this light.
Yes, I was really glad they were able to come back and redeem themselves from the human juggling act they did last week. The Satan thing that you said mentioned is "Night on Bald Mountain." I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a very famous song from Fantasia. Did you
Yeah,
ever see Disney's Fantasia? Yeah, so it's from that. Of course, they had Simon holding pitchforks. So yeah, the whole Satan theme with Simon was very very fitting. Um, Now, it surprised me a little bit because after the judges had so much fun with this and they were just going nuts at the judges table. Of course, later on they were telling some acts that the act they were doing was the best act, or they've blown everyone away. When to me it seemed like they were having the most fun and enjoyed this act more than any other act the rest of the night.
yeah. Um, and after the whole show was over, I was just like, I wish I could have been there. 'Cause it was a really fun time. It was great to see all this happening live at once. I love AGT. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's acts like this that the reason I want to watch the show. It's danger, it's comedy, it's they finally get to bring Simon in after all the other judges have been participating in it. So yeah, this is the main reason that I watch this show.
Yeah, and I also thought if they did go through, they were pretty much guaranteed to use Simon in the finals again. I thought that was very successful. So I was kind of surprised by their ranking in the end, but yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, I was for sure that they were going through to the next round. I was for sure. I was shocked when we found out they were part of a Duncan save.
Wait, were they in Duncan save? I think they were in the first
Uh,
result.
no, you are right. My apologies for that. They were in the first result. Yeah, because they were in
That's
that
so
first one.
baffling. I
So,
mean,
but
it's
even in that first result with clairvoyance, that was still a shock as well.
yeah. I mean, it's really weird that they weren't even like top six or whatever.
Yeah, so even not to be in the Duncan save is a little bit of a surprise. They weren't even in the top with the Duncan saves, so
Yeah.
very disappointing. Sad we won't get to see them in the finals because I know they can do even more than what they did tonight. I hope they get to come in my area because I will definitely go see them in a show.
Yeah.
Did you give them any votes?
I gave them 4 votes.
Gave them 4 votes, so we still haven't reached your more than 8 votes performance yet.
No.
Do you have anything else to say about the passing zone?
Good wild card pick. Good job. Thumbs up, judges.
Yes, I think they did get it right on the wild card pick. I said last week that I would have hoped they brought either them or Julia. I'm really glad they picked them now. I think Julia would have done a fine job, but I think picking them was a much better choice. This now that I've actually seen their, now that they actually performed in the semifinals, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
The next act we have is Callista Bevier. She sang Christina Perri's "Human." What'd you think of Callista?
Um, long time no see, Callista. So she came on the stage and she kind of did worse than I thought she would do. She wasn't just boring, but she was sort of off the pitch. I thought she sounded pretty terrible, and she really does not look good against Jana and Katie.
Okay, so you're thinking she wasn't as good as Katie.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Which is weird
Okay.
to say, but
Yeah.
I mean, Katie, she sings more interesting songs, I guess. Even if I do like Human more. Katie has a certain flavor, whereas I think Callista is just sort of bland and not even really doing it very well. Um, Katie can make nice background noise, and I think Callista would annoy me.
Um, yeah, I wasn't familiar with this song at all. I thought she sounded angry. It may have been the off pitchness, but there were times in the song that she actually sounded angry. And I couldn't tell if that's because since I'm not familiar with it, I couldn't tell if that was the song or if that was just the way she felt that night.
Yeah, I don't know. She was trying. I feel like she was sort of doing weird vocal things to disguise how she actually sounds, or I don't know. She does weird like inflections with her voice, I think, and I can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, now that you mention that, that may have made what made her sound angry, as if she was trying to do different things with her voice. One thing I noticed from the judges is they were very generic when they were kind of doing the compliments. In the other acts, they'll usually say, that's the best of the night, or you did a fantastic job. It seems like they were kind of uh, moving around the topic. They weren't telling her you didn't do a good job, or we didn't really like that. They were just they're very generic in what they were saying to her. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was no we're gonna remember this performance forever or anything like that. I mean, obviously she is Simon's golden buzzer. I don't know if she disappointed Simon or whatever, but if she did, he would never let it show. And maybe it has to do a little bit with her cancer that they would go soft on her, but I can't say for sure. Maybe they do like her. She is, I guess, a pop star, I guess, or I thought. Kind of surprised she didn't even get Duncan Save or whatever, but yeah, I think the judges give her way too much credit, but there wasn't a lot of passion in what they said either, so it's sort of a weird balance.
I didn't feel good about this act at all. I didn't think that she would go through at all. It just did not sound good. The package kind of went with her cancer, talked about how she visits the kids who are still in the hospital, some kids that didn't make it while she was in the hospital. But it was kind of nice to see that she goes back and visits the kids, plays with them, sings to them. But I didn't think it was enough to carry her with this act.
Oh, I didn't like her package at all. I thought it was very self-indulgent. I don't know if she planned it or if the crew just decided to follow her around while she does it, but I don't know. She seems almost like robotic to me. Like, she does nice things, looks out for the kids, so he tells you to be brave. I haven't gotten any personality out of her, but I don't know. It was just really weird. If she had made it through on that night, I would have been very upset.
Yeah, I would have been pretty disappointed too, because it was not worthy of a finals act at all.
Yeah,
So, but so I'm guessing you didn't give her any votes.
I did not.
Okay. Our next act was Stephen Brundage. Stephen had an anti-sleight of hand device, which I'm, which is was tongs he used for his was for his in his act, which I thought was kind of funny. What did you think of Stephen tonight?
I think that was the best part of the act, I guess. Honestly, I did like it. I liked his intro. I thought it was awesome how he was by those big crate things that I don't know what they're called, and he's talking about I don't know. It's basically like it felt like a movie trailer or something. Like one man will conquer all puzzles. It was just cool. I thought it painted him in a nice light. I thought it felt like a finals performance, the way he presented everything and got right into it. I'm not really sure why, but it felt very presidential, I guess. Um,
Presidential?
Not presidential, but like the equivalent of presidential in AGT, like finalistal.
Oh, okay. So you felt like it was a finals and a finals act.
I think it was presented like a finals act. I thought he had nice bloopy background music. It was pretty cool in the end. I it's just looking back on it that makes me really question it. I did like it very much in the moment, but this is sort of like a human juggling thing where looking back it's hard to get too excited about it. Um, that probably has to do with other people did not receive it very well. They thought it wasn't very strong magic, so I guess that could have some influence. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was kind of fun. You mentioned the anti sleight of hand device was kind of fun to see. He didn't want people to think that he was mixing up the cubes after the judges had already scrambled them, so he used some tongs. I think he had his sleeves rolled up. He didn't want people thinking he was hiding anything. I thought that was really funny. He did bring Nick into the performance as well. There's a lot of controversy around this act. Some people think that he might have hinted a card at Nick of what to pick. Um, and then he turns the mural around, and it's supposed to be Brad Pitt, which is what Nick picked. Do you think it looked like Brad Pitt at all?
Um, yeah, I think to say it could have been any other celebrity, I think is a stretch.
Yeah, I think it could have been anybody. You really have to with cubes. There's the pixels are so big on there. You really have to pull back really far to get a clear image on there. Uh, and they were doing a lot of zooming in. Howie was insistent that it looked like him. He was for sure that it was him up there, which was kind of funny. He just kept saying it over and over. Um, it was fun at the beginning. At the end, it kind of let me down a lot.
I saw someone comment that there are multiple Brad Pitts in that deck, which I mean, it seems ridiculous. I don't think that was ever shown on the screen, but I mean, if it was, that's a pretty big giveaway, I guess. But I think it's kind of off base, so I thought it was kind of funny. But um, yeah, I liked it in the moment, and I'm not really sure why anymore. But um, again, this was a very very good night to see live, so maybe that could have something to do with it. But Steven has good energy. He's a good presenter as a magician. He's very likable. So um, yeah.
I think he'll do fine in his career. Uh, I was trying to pay attention to the cards as much as possible. He was kind of flipping through them pretty quickly to see if there were any, if I could spot any duplicates. It's pretty difficult. The writing's small, and he was moving really fast. Also, hey, NBC, if you happen to be listening to this, fix your website. I had a lot of issues with the stream when I was watching it, so I was on a really good internet connection. Just throwing this out there. NBC, if you happen to be listening, anyone in production, uh, make sure your website's nice and clear so people can watch the performances. Just saying. Uh, so, you know, I think he'll be fine. Um, it, I had him as a Duncan save, which I think is right where he went. And when I saw him as a Duncan save with the other two, I was like, this is not going to be good. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was fine. It was fun at the beginning, let me down at the end. That's pretty much all it was.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
Yeah.
Simon said he was the most improved. I thought, that's kind of ridiculous. Most improved. He was always great. He's always been great. And I think that was sort of a dead giveaway that Simon was one of the judges who did not want to bring him back at first.
Yeah, I don't know about most improved. I think if you're talking like from week to week to week, it was definitely most improved. I thought the passing zone was way more improved from last week to this week. So yeah.
Yeah. So I gave Steven 4 votes.
Okay, well, good for Steven. I'm glad, and maybe your 4 votes helped him get into the Duncan save.
Maybe. Put the pressure on him.
That's right. Our next act is Sophie Dawsey. What did you think of Sophie?
Long time no see, Sophie. Again,
Yeah,
I feel like we haven't seen her in a while either. But yeah, long time no see, and thank you for doing a different trick. I thought she had a good song choice also, and her look at the camera was very good. The camera work was it stayed on one camera the whole time, and it was basically just floating by her. I thought that was very cool. So in the end, I would have liked it a little more, but it was pretty cool. All the contortion and the ring hanging stuff that she did.
uh, yeah. I did not, for some reason. I mean, I know it was just a song. I, for some reason, did not like the song choice. I'm not sure what it was, but it just didn't feel right to me. Um, and for some reason, in this one, her contortion, she makes it look very natural. I mean, I think for
Mm-hmm.
her, it actually is, and she's talked about that in her package. Like, just one day, she decided to bend over, and she could do it.
Yeah, apparently it doesn't hurt.
It apparently doesn't hurt. It's very fluid, very smooth. Um, so it just seems like that's just something very natural for her. I think she's done this ring act. I think she did part of the ring act before, but was okay. She did more of it this time. It was different to see. It was nice to see a different act. She came up out of a box, which was really kind of cool to see. Um, this one was a lot of fun to see, even though I didn't really like the song, but I think it was just a song. I don't think it was anything special.
Yeah. In the recap, they showed her like getting into the box before her act started, and the judges could see her doing it. That was sort of cool.
Yeah, they really were like they were really excited about that. That was really a surprise for them.
Yeah, I don't even think I noticed that really in her performance. I think I was more focused on the other stuff, but that's pretty cool that she started in a box.
Yeah, when she started, I noticed she was in a box. I didn't know the box was open on top. I thought maybe it was closed.
Oh man.
I don't know if it would add anything to it if the box was closed and she had to come out of it, or if it was not a clear box, if it was, opaque and she was hidden in there, and then all of a sudden she appeared. That might have made
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit more. That might have made it a little bit more exciting. It probably wouldn't have added a lot to it, but no, it was still kind of cool that she was folded down in a box.
Yeah, those are great ideas. It would be cool if somebody if the box was closed and somebody carried her out in the box.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. Like she's in a suitcase or something, and someone brought her out in the suitcase.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Yep. Mel B said this was the best performance of the night, and I thought that was a little bit of a stretch, especially how, and we talked about it earlier, especially how excited they were about the passing zone.
Yeah, that is a stretch. I did vote for her though. I gave her 2 votes.
Well, good for Sophie. I did not have her going through for some reason. I didn't think that people would. I thought there were other better acts that we'd seen up to this point. I thought definitely the passing zone was better. I thought Lincoln Bridge was a little bit better, um, but I just didn't think that she would go through.
I agree on all fronts.
Okay. The next act is my favorite act of the entire show, the Clairvoyants. I loved their opening package. They live their performance, and I love that it's not just some. They talk about how they met, how they live, but still it's all eerie and creepy, and they bring uh, the mystery and the clairvoyancy into their opening package. I think that's absolutely great.
Yeah, their presentation is top notch. They had a lovely, lovely set, and it was like a town that then opened into uh, this like old timey room. I'm so glad that NBC gives them that stuff because it was great. It really added to the performance.
Yeah, they had a long table that all the judges sat at, and they had some candles set up. Yeah, it was like this. You go into these old timey houses, and you see this on TV shows and movies, and they all sit around and they want to get their fortunes told, or they're doing some sort of séance, or um, I don't remember the other word I'm looking to, but yes, it was exactly what they are. Um, they even had the old school costumes on, the old fashioned costumes. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, they look amazing, and that's just one part of it. I love this so much. This was the most convincing magic I have ever seen, and I almost believe that they have supernatural abilities. I feel like Simon, and reading discussions on Reddit and stuff, I have stumbled upon what I think is a pretty good answer as to how they do it, but it's great. It's really clever. In the moment, they make it so much fun. This was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of people post on Reddit to try to spoil or explain how these magicians do these tricks, and I try to avoid those as much as possible. I mean, the scientist in me wants to learn how things work, but at the same time, this is entertainment, and I don't really want to know how they entertain me. I don't want that secret to get out. I think the mystery is what, it's obviously a trick. There's obviously something behind it, but I don't want to know what it is. I want that mystery to stay there, and that's what keeps me engaged. I thought the entire thing was great, except for the part with Mel B. My tinfoil hat went on when they started with Mel B because they burned her piece of paper, and then so they didn't show us what she wrote. They then went to something else that was in uh, I can't remember her name, the woman's locket, and then they had Iris written on the locket. So you know, I know the I don't want to believe. Or, I'm sorry. I want to believe that the judges aren't involved in the trick, and I don't think that they are involved in the trick. But still, to make it more convincing, I would have rather have seen what Mel B actually wrote on her letter. I don't think the fire thing brought anything to the trick. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean.
Oh, okay. I thought that was very cool. I thought they ramped it up a lot, and to say what she wrote down when what she wrote down does not even exist anymore, I thought was very cool. And in the explanation that I read, the judges are not in on it, so um, you can rest easy. It's more satisfying than that. But I thought that was very cool. And another thing about this part was they knew that it was her grandmother, and I'm not sure if Mel wrote that on the paper or not. I think if she didn't, that would be pretty amazing. But it's possible that she did write it there. But I wish that I knew for sure.
Yeah, that's the part I would have liked to have seen. Maybe they bring out the thing that was in the locket, show that, and then show also what Mel B wrote. I guess I missed the whole fire part of it. So if I'm missing it and you understand what that was about, please explain it to me because I think that would kind of help me fill in that gap of why that happened. Because I didn't get it.
Well, it was just to make it more impressive. Like they were ramping it up the whole time. Like the first time, he was holding the paper, and then they're like, okay, this time, um, I don't know what they did with it, but they sort of ramped it up so that burning it was the most impressive thing. And it's just like, because you think they have to access those papers to be able to know what's written on them. So for them to just completely cut that off and then to destroy it, I thought was very cool. And I thought the fire sort of went with the presentation and everything. So it was just sort of a presentation element saying, this piece of paper has been turned to ash and we still know what's written on it.
Okay, I may have to just go back and rewatch it because that whole segment with Mel was just lost on me. The other part was great. The rest of it was absolutely fabulous. With Simon, they it was weird with Simon because he did the British 4 minutes after seven, and then they had to convert it into 7:04,
Yeah.
which was really weird. But then of course they pull the clock out, and there's that, and then the Howie and the Heidi one were really good. But the Mel B one, I just may have to go back and rewatch that because I must have missed it. I must have been distracted on something else. So
Yeah. I have no idea how they did that clock thing either. That's I totally forgot about that.
yeah, that was really cool to see. So um, I I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the finals. I think it's I think they're going to be one of the top five. We'll get in kind of the preview, but I think they're going to be one of the top five. I think I had them win the whole thing, and I'm glad that they're still in it. I don't know if they will win it. I mean, there's other acts out there that will probably get more votes than they do, but I'm real excited for them. So
Well, I'm thrilled. I think they're going to be top 5 easy, so I'm really looking forward to more performances from them.
yeah. Any final thoughts on the clairvoyance?
I gave the Clairvoyants 10 votes because
Yes.
what other magicians say that would have been cool too, these guys do for real. Such a good performance.
It makes me happy to hear that you gave them 10 votes.
Yeah.
That makes me all kinds of happy. Good job, clairvoyance. Our final act of the night is Brian Justin Crumb, and he sang "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by Tears for Fears. How do you think BJC did?
So we started off with his intro, and the mixing was already bad. You could barely hear what he was saying over the music. But luckily, it wasn't that bad in his performance. So he sang like he does, and I sort of thought that he didn't really step it up. I didn't quite get this one. Obviously, other people liked it. So, what do you think?
He has grown on me from week to week. I don't think I was big on him early on. He sang "Creep," which is kind of when I started coming around. I think that was even week two. Started coming around on him, and then the last song that he sang really got to me. And then he sings "Everybody Wants to Rule the World," and I think he's now finally moved into mastermind creepiness category for me, which I think is a lot of fun. I think he could
Yeah, he has a
easily,
good style.
yeah, I think he's finally found a little niche for himself in this. It's not in a bad way. In a mastermind creep type guy that I think he could really take that persona on and have fun with it. It's not a negative. It's not a knock on him at all. I think he could have a lot of fun with it. Um, so I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah. Well, I see what you're saying. That is a good style for him to have. He is very distinct, and that's what makes me look forward to seeing him.
I definitely thought he was the best singer of the night compared to Katie Lynn and Jaina and Callista.
I gotta disagree with you there, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
I thought Jane was very good. Yeah, my dad's a big fan of Brian as well, and he would definitely agree with you.
Wow, that's some strong words to say Jaina was better than Brian Justin Crumb, but I can totally go with that. I think that's fair.
Best musical performance of the season for me. What can I say?
Well, I guess so. Um, I think Howie said it was the strongest, best performance of the night. Again, I thought it was great. I thought he was the best singer. I didn't think it was the best performance of the night.
Okay.
I definitely thought Passing Zone was better than him. Again, they had so much fun with the Passing Zone. It's still, I think, a stretch for him to say that it was the best performance of the night. I still had him go through. He has a good following. He still has his story behind him, which I think he was climbing up through the Hollywood Hills during his opening package. I'd kind of like to see a little bit different package from him as well. I think he's kind of done the same package every week. Um, but no, I
Oh,
thought it was
okay.
a.
I didn't notice he was in the Hollywood Hills. That's sort of cool.
I'm guessing it was the Hollywood Hills. I mean,
Yeah, they
it
should have
just
shown the sign.
it should have shown the sign. That would have definitely given it away. But he was definitely walking up some hills, a long hilly road. I'm guessing that's what it was, just because they're out in that area. So it may not be. If anyone who knows that area, anyone from LA who knows that area, can correct us, please let us know. I'd really be curious of where that's at. But if it is the Hollywood Hills, then I thought it was pretty fitting for them to show that. But you're right, it'd be great to show the sign if they're actually going to be out in that area.
Yeah, but that would be a cool setting for him to be in.
Before we get into the results, there's one final thing that I noticed this week, and it's been out there every week, but it finally just clicked with me this week that when they do the after each act, when they tell people to vote, I noticed that in the past, when they've given the phone number on the screen, they've always set out the phone number, and then the last two digits have always been the numbers for that act. So of course, so tonight, like Jana Brown would be one, then Caden would have been two, and Katie Lynn three, and they would have had the performer actually hold up that number in their hands. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The acts are still numbered, and they still pretty much do it like that, but they don't highlight it anymore for some reason. And I think this might be the first year that they've sort of gone away from that, but I'm not sure.
yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at is that I noticed that they weren't having the acts hold up their hands anymore. And I know we've talked about in our, I think our what we would do if we ran AGT, and we talked about getting rid of the phone and all that. This might be kind of that first step in moving away from phone voting.
It might be. I mean, from the acts perspective, they might want you to vote with the app and then share that on your respective Twitters and Facebooks. So I guess it could be more beneficial for them, but it's probably not the entire contestant lineup of AGT choosing to do that simultaneously. They might be trying to move away from voting by phone, or there might be that natural path. Maybe online voting has overtaken it, so they don't stress it as much on the air. But yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to notice that, and going back to our conversation a while back, that you were hoping they get away from phone voting. Well, you might be getting your wish sooner than you expected.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope so. It seems like they've been cutting sort of a lot of stuff like that, but it doesn't really feel like there's much more time in the show, especially when there's a results show. But yeah, the I can't name any examples off the top of my head, but they are sort of trimming the fat, I think, which is good to see, I guess.
Yep. It's okay. Now we can move on to the results, and we've already talked about some of the results, but we're gonna go ahead and break everything down. Uh, the first thing that we had was they brought out the Duncan Save people, which was Sophie Dossie, Stephen Brundage, and Viktor Kee. What do you think of this group?
I wanted Steven out of this, but I figured it would be Sophie would win and then Victor would get the judge's choice, which I will admit is completely because of the numbers that were initially up there for the voting. So, um, yeah, I wanted Steven.
So yeah, I wanted Steven out of this group as well, and then I figured Sophie would get the judge's pick, um, and then Victor would kind of be left out in the cold. Um, but we'll kind of come back to the Duncan save here in one moment and break down how everyone voted on this. Um, there was then a piece that talked about the importance of being on the show, that this has been the biggest votes in AGT history. Did you get anything out of them saying this is kind of the most important thing of their life and how important this is and whatnot?
Yeah, it was a cause for celebration. I like that it was the most votes, and so yeah, we got this little emotion injection, and some of it was old clips we've seen before, but I liked it. I like seeing this all come together and compiled.
Yeah, it was kind of fun, and to hear that people are getting involved in voting, but we now have three different ways we can vote with the phones and the app and online. And of course, when you can give every single act 10 votes, obviously there's going to be a lot of votes out there. It's just numbers,
Yeah.
but still, it was a lot of fun to hear. It sounds like the show is still going strong, so that's great to hear. It might be here for a while. So yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had our next group, the Passing Zone, Caden Bart Rocket, and the Clairvoyants. And this worried me a lot when I saw this.
Oh, okay. So you were focused on the passing zone here, I guess.
Yeah, I was. It made me nervous because the two of my favorite two acts were in this, and Caden Bart Rocket is not one of those two. So when I saw both of these in there, I was like, okay, now you got to pick your favorite child type thing. So I would have been happy with either one gone through. the clairvoyance is my favorite act of the entire show. I have them winning it all, but what the passing zone did during the show was just incredible. It was absolutely hilarious. So to see both of them in this group, I knew nothing good could come of this.
Yeah, I think the passing zone was pretty nervous too. One of them was smiling the entire time that they had been called up. So yeah, I really wanted my crown jewel, the clairvoyance, to go through, and I figured they would, and yeah, they did. But it's sad to lose the passing zone.
Yeah, it was nice to see them go through, and like you said, one of them smiled the entire time. I think I even saw one of them like give a big like they sucked in, then a big deep breath out, like oh
Mm-hmm.
boy, we got to go up against them type
Yeah.
thing. So Nick made us wait a really long time for the results. I mean, just ridiculous amount of time, just to add to the tension and to kill time. But ultimately, clairvoyance went through. Real happy about that.
Yeah, we got to look at both people in the passing zone's face. We got to look at Caden's face. We got to look at his sister's face. We got to look at Tommy's face. We got to look at Emily's face. So it was a while to wait.
Yeah. So it's good to see them move on. I think they're going to do a fantastic job. We talked earlier; they should be a top five performance. I want them to win it. I don't think that they will win it. So
Yeah, yeah, it's tough to call. It's anyone's game.
yeah. Then we had a performance by is it Andrade,
Yes.
and then Blue Journey.
Yeah. I wasn't so much focused on Blue Journey. They didn't really wow me. Like, I don't know. It seems like there's so many acts like this. We had one this season that does a pretty similar thing. So, Blue Journey didn't blow me away, and I thought Andrew Day sounded like Sia.
I know nothing about either one of those singers. I fast forwarded through this. I completely skipped
Okay.
it. I'm like, I want results. Let's move on to results. So,
Yeah.
if you have any input on Andrew Day and Blue Journey, I will be more than happy to listen to it. But I did not watch it. I did not listen. I know nothing about any of this.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Then Nick did a preview of NFL football on NBC, which came on last night. Did you happen to watch the Panthers and the Broncos?
I caught a glimpse of it in a restaurant.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, I'm happy football is back. It's nice to see it on NBC. I can watch it on the NBC Sports app. Throw a little plug out to NBC there. Maybe you'll send us some money. So then right after that, we went into our third group. Katie Lynn, Callista Bevier, and Brian Justin Crum.
Out of this group, I did want Brian, definitely. But I actually thought that it would be Callista.
Okay, I could see that. So this was your bottom three for the night. It did not have Jana Brown in it. Um,
Yeah.
I was real happy to see an all singer group. I would like to have seen the passing zone. Maybe switch out Katie Lynn in the passing zone. Um, but that wasn't going to happen. But in this group, yeah, I wanted Brian Justin Crum to go through as well. Nick made us wait an insanely amount of time again. Uh,
Yeah. My family commented too that this was an all singer group. I didn't really notice that, but it is good that they did the results like that since they were given the perfect opportunity to. So that was pretty cool.
yeah, and I'm guessing that's going to happen when you have the amount of singers that we have. Uh, so
Right.
it was nice that they did that. That way we didn't have a singer from every group going into the finals. So they at least got weeded down some. Uh, I mentioned in a previous podcast, I would like to see them talk to the losers. Well, since this was an all singing group, Simon had to say his piece to all of the singers before they left. So it was real nice to kind of let them stick around for a minute and for him to say his fond farewells to all of them.
Yeah, I agree that was a rare occurrence. However, I would not posit that this was because it was an all singing group. I think it has a lot more to do with it being Simon's golden buzzer, and I imagine he required this to happen. Um, but it was good. Hopefully, they will talk to the losers some more in future episodes.
Do you think that the judges know the results beforehand?
No, but I would say Simon probably just put forward, hey, if Callista loses, talk to her anyway. Or maybe they
Okay.
just figured that they should, but I feel like it has got to have something to do with that.
You don't think a producer pulls him aside and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, Katie Lynn, Callista Bevier, and Brian Scrum, they're all in a group, and it doesn't look good for your girl. So just want to kind of give you a heads up on that." You don't think that happens?
Maybe. I like that
Okay.
scenario.
Then right after that, we had another all singing group in Lincoln Bridge and Jana Brown. Great to see another all singing group. What'd you think of this?
Oh, this was painful. Um, I wanted Jaina from this, and I figured it would be Lincoln Bridge. Um, this reminded me a lot of when Deadly Games went up against John Dorenbos. I got the same sad feeling. Um, Jaina was not even a dunk and save, so yeah. Right as soon as I get on board with her fully, she gets out of the competition. It was very sad. I was not happy with Lincoln Bridge's performance, and I wish they were not in the finals, but that's just me, obviously.
Yeah, I had Jaina as a Duncan save, and I had Lincoln Bridge. I had both of them as Duncan saves. So to see them kind of go up against each other, when I'm sitting here writing all my notes down, one thing I do while I'm watching it, and Nick is sitting there making us wait 20 minutes for a result to come out. I'll kind of highlight the one I think is going to be picked, and I highlighted Jaina Brown. So when they announced Lincoln Bridge, that was a little bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah. Um, Probably a lot of it comes down to song choice. I don't know. I think 7 Years is probably more popular than Rise, but uh, it's weird times. It's a weird time for music, and it's a weird time for AGT.
Yeah. Last week they sang a bunch of songs that I was familiar with, and this week there was only one song I was familiar with. So, I guess it kind of happens. You could get that depending on who you're singing to. You know, uh, you said you weren't familiar with the Katie Lynn song, and you're familiar with the others. So it's it depends on who they're singing to that it could teeter the votes one way or another. So Simon also had to give his piece to both of them. So
Oh, did he?
I think he did.
Okay, cool.
I think he kind of talked to them for a minute, but um, that's why I kind of thought that because they're singing acts, he kind of had to say something. Where if this were a mix with other acts, if the Passing Zone had been in that previous group and um, maybe Sophie Dossie had been in there with Lincoln Bridge, it may not have been that way. But because these were all singing groups, all the singers were grouped together. I think he wanted to kind of bid them a fond farewell. So
Yeah, well, it's a start.
yeah, I hope they do allow enough time in future seasons to 20, 30 seconds, whatever it may be, just to talk. I know it's a lot of acts to talk to when they say goodbye, but I would just kind of like that. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a little clip of Mel B going into the wilderness with Bear Grylls. Did you stick around for this after the show?
No, I had no interest.
So, which do you think was better, or which do you think got more ratings, Bear Grylls or Better Late Than Never?
I'm gonna say Bear Grylls.
Yeah, you think he's drawn in more people, and then, or you think having Mel B on there kind of attracts more
I think he
viewers?
probably has a more consistent viewership. Now I want to
Yeah.
look this up.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I've never watched a Bear Grylls episode. I mean, I hear they're pretty exciting, but it's always been on Travel Channel or Discovery or one of those, and I've just never really tuned in to watch a Bear Grylls episode. So, um,
Yeah.
one comment I had though was, why was she wearing her jewelry on the show? Like she had all of her rings on, and while she's
Oh, did she?
climbing down a mountain. So I thought that was really weird.
Hmm. Yeah. They have not released the ratings for that Running Wild episode,
Okay.
but Better Late Than Never got 6.91 million viewers on episode 3.
Okay. Do we know how that compared to 1 and 2?
Yeah, episode 1 and 2 are in the 7 millions, and it turns out that Running Wild with Bear Grylls averages about 4.
Okay. So a lot of people want to tune in for Shatner and the Fonz, or let's see, Captain Kirk and the Fonz, and uh, Foreman, George Foreman, and who else is on there?
The heavyweight champion.
Well, that's
I
that's
guess that
George
is George
Foreman.
Foreman.
Yeah, and then there's another actor. I
Well,
can't remember.
maybe it's
But
the AGT boost, or maybe
yeah.
people are very interested in this conundrum of a show. But
Yeah, I wonder if their ratings went up after. I think we talked about that last week. Our rating. I wonder if their ratings went up after we recommended it from our 100 viewers or
mhm.
100 listeners. Well, right after that, we then had a little game show to kind of fill time. Were you interested in this game show at all?
No, 2 of the judges voted for themselves when they were the answer, and 2 of them did not. That was the most interesting part of it.
Yeah, I thought this was completely dumb because obviously the person that did it is going to know the answer to it.
Hmm.
And then they had 5 questions. Heidi was 2 of them. So I don't know. Or sorry, Howie was 2 of them. It was just a time fill type thing.
Yeah.
Then after they killed some more time, they eventually came back to the Duncan saves, and they announced that Sophie Dawsey was America's vote.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, that's
I'm
not
okay
bad.
with that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. But then that worried me when it came down to Stephen Brundage and Viktor Kee, because with the judges, you just have no idea which way they're going to go. So they were, of course, very wishy-washy in their voting. They split the vote. Mel B and Simon went with Stephen Brundage. Heidi and Howie went with Viktor Kee, which came down to a tiebreaker based on voting, and Viktor Kee got the tiebreaker based on what America voted. So in voting, Victor actually beat out Stephen Brundage, which was a little surprising.
Yeah, that was interesting. I imagine it was very close.
I would hope it was very close.
Yeah. So that was an interesting way to end the show. It was a little bit surprising. They also did this thing looking ahead to the finals where they showed all of the judges' golden buzzers except for Callista, and that made me oddly gleeful.
Did you have anything else on the results? I'm trying to find the lineup for next week.
I will say, I felt weirdly happy for Callista leaving. It felt sort of evil, but I guess I'm on this bandwagon of really disliking her. So
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Is it just because she was Simon's golden buzzer? I mean, is that
I
it, or
hadn't
is it
even thought
because
about that, but
I didn't
that
know?
is another reason.
Okay, I didn't know if that was the reason, or if it's just because you didn't think she was good enough to move on.
No, I mean, she goes beyond just telling her story. Like, she's riding this cancer thing hard, and she picks such stupid, like, these one-word message songs, and it's just as simple as can be. But I really thought she would ride that to the finals, and she didn't. So I guess I was glad to see that plan go off the rails. I don't know. A lot of it is, I'm sure, more hate than there should be. But
Poor Callista, not getting any love.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Callie.
yeah. Okay, so our lineup for next week is Brian Justin Crumb, the Clairvoyants, Grace Vanderwall, John Dornbos, Laura Baton, Lincoln Bridge, Sal Valentinetti, Sophie Dawsey, Tapeface, and Viktor Kee. What do you think of
Hmm.
that lineup?
It doesn't sound as strong as I thought that it would.
Well,
So,
yeah, well, you have the Clairvoyants, you have Grace, you have Sal, you have your boy Tapeface, and you have Brian Justin Crumb.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think that's probably the top five, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. I would say Brian I'm sort of excited for. Um Man. Oh, I'm not feeling good looking
Uh
at this. I'm
oh.
sure it'll be a lot of
Uh
fun, but
oh. You were real excited
mm,
about the finals at first, and now that you hear the lineup, doesn't sound like you're.
yeah, this is weaker than I thought it would be. I'm not sure who we've lost that makes me.
Well, we don't have the passing zone, who we thought would be there.
Yeah, we
Uh,
don't have. I don't know. We recently lost Jana Brown. We lost Deadly Games.
yes, I think that was probably one of the other ones, Deadly Games. Um,
Mm,
let's see.
not happy, America.
Uh-oh. Malivo, did you think they would be a finalist?
No, I mean the good thing about this is the ones I really like. I feel like should have a good shot, but it's also very possible that Grace Vanderwall could win it all.
Yeah, I think I mentioned the five earlier that will be the top five. I think that Grace is probably the leader going into the clubhouse. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then either the clairvoyants or tape face. They're probably two and two A. And then Sal, and then Brian Justin Crumb is probably the order that I
Yeah.
would have it.
So we have 5 women in this final. One of them is in half of a duo, and the rest are little girls. So that's better than last year.
Yeah. Well, what do you consider? Well, I guess what Grace is 12. Is Laura Breton 13, 14,
Yeah, maybe. She might be even younger. I don't
and
know.
Sophie's 14.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know if
So,
are you considering that little early
yeah,
teenager?
I
Okay,
guess.
early teen,
Not
not
adults.
adults. Okay, and not like 16, 17. You don't consider? Okay.
So I don't know what to make of that, but it's better than last year. Are you looking at this wiki page? It's got some interesting trivia on here.
No, I was just looking at a Reddit post.
Okay. Well, this is the first final to have a juggler since the passing zone in season 1.
Wow. Okay, they have been promoting that this is the year of the juggler.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt a little bit for the passing zone.
Yeah, yeah. Any other trivia on there that's of interest?
One half of the finalists are singers, and the other half are variety acts.
I think I did see someone post that five were singers, which I guess I'm okay with that. I would like to see, um, I would probably like to have seen the passing zone over Lincoln Bridge, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That would have probably balanced it out a little bit more. But
Right.
and then you have an opera singer. The last opera singer I saw was no, I forgot her name. I've been talking about her all season, and now I forget her name.
The one who won that season, right?
No, she didn't win.
Oh,
She was
really?
in the top. I think she was in the top two or three.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Well, I think most people know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
I'm just drawing a blank right now. So no, it's not as strong as we thought it would be. We do have our favorites. I think we have a clear cut between the top five and the bottom five.
Okay. I don't know. It's a challenge. There's so many singers, like you don't know. I think Laura has a pretty good shot. I think Viktor could maybe take a place in the top 5, and you never know how John could come out. He could really do something there. So I don't know. Predictions. It'll be hard to get down to the granularity of it, but yeah, I think I mostly agree with you.
Okay. Well, Tuesday night is the finals, and is the results show a 2 hour show?
I think it might be. It might even be longer than that. I remember. I think it's later than they usually do them. I haven't looked at the schedule,
Okay.
but let's see if I can find it. Oh, okay. So Tuesday, America's Got Talent is on at 8, and then Better Late Than Never is on at 10. So 2-hour performances, and then it looks like the results will be 2 hours as well, also at 8. It's a little bit earlier than I thought they would do it, but that's okay.
Is that 8 Eastern or 8 Central?
It's 8 Eastern.
Okay.
Because I think this NBC website shows me in Central Time, so...
Yeah, and DirecTV is showing 8 Eastern. Yeah. Okay, so Wednesday night, 8 Eastern. Tuesday night, 8 Eastern. 2-hour performance and results. So, going to have a lot of stuff to fill. They're probably going to do some performances with some mentor or some favorite acts of theirs. So that'll be a lot of fun to kind of see them come in. We'll probably see a package with previous acts. Dorothy may make an appearance. You never know. She may twirl the pasties.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised by a Howard Stern appearance, although, Simon's sort of taken over, so I'm not really getting my hopes up. But yeah, cool stuff always goes down in the finals. It's going to be emotional. Could have you on the verge of tears. Never know.
Could have me in tears. You could have me screaming at the TV. But if you tune in for the results Wednesday night on our Google Hangout, you will find out what we think of this live. It'll be very, very, very exciting.
Which act would make you the most upset if they won?
If they won,
Yeah.
let me look back at that. Okay, the act that would make me so upset if they won would probably either be Laura Berton or Viktor Kee. If Viktor Kee wins the whole thing,
Really?
you may not hear from me again for another 3 seasons. I may just ditch the whole rewatch of season 9 and 10. I may just disappear off the face of the earth if Viktor Kee wins this whole thing.
Dang. It's a cliffhanger for this podcast.
That's right. You got to tune in Wednesday night to find out if I make it through the results show. If the first act, if they say the first act eliminated is the clairvoyance, I may just shut everything off at that point. You never know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I may just have to follow it on Twitter the next day after I, wake up. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm really excited to do this live. Emotions will be higher than usual on the podcast, I'm sure.
Yes. If you think we're excited now, just wait. You haven't heard anything yet.
Just wait.
Just wait. That's right. Tune in. But if you want to find out more about this, or you have any questions for us, or you want to give us any comments or anything, then we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us on Twitter and Facebook at AGTcast. You can also send us an email at agtcast@gmail.com. We're on YouTube. Both of us are active on Reddit. You'll probably see us out there making comments, posting stuff, whatever it may be. So check that out. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. This has been a great podcasting experience thus far. So thanks to everyone for listening and making this happen.
Yeah, and if we don't get a chance to say it Wednesday night, or if some stuff's just going on and there's so much excitement or whatnot, I just want to say I appreciate you letting me do this with you. I've enjoyed the last couple of months. It's been a lot of fun. I'm excited about what's going forward for AZTcast.
Oh, you saved my podcast. So
thanks.
I'm very grateful to you.
Yeah, it's when you made the announcement that you were looking for somebody, I waited to see if you did find somebody, and I'd been thinking about for a while just doing a podcast, not necessarily on AGT, but just starting a podcast on talking about something. And when you mentioned that you were looking for somebody, and there was nothing for a couple of weeks. I thought, well, maybe he didn't find anyone. I want to reach out and kind of see what's going on. So I'm real excited that you gave me this opportunity to join you. So,
Me too.
and then again, if we don't get to it next week, join us again at the end of September. We'll probably have some more announcements come out about the rewatch for season 9 and 10. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It kind of something to do during the winter when it's, at least in my area, when it's snowing outside and you really can't do anything. Throw down a podcast, watch some AGT, throw down a podcast. Um, get excited about people going home that you don't want to go home, people moving on that you wanted to move on, that type of stuff. So it'll be fun.
I won't have the withdrawals that I usually have.
That's right. You might actually be tired of it come April.
I hope not, but that is possible. Um, I'm always so excited for fall TV because there's so many shows that I watch and love. But AGT definitely always has a special place in my heart.
Do you have a favorite show you watch during fall TV?
Um, I'm really looking forward to Nathan For You coming back. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
It's so weird. I could barely even explain it, but it's also sort of a reality show, sort of not. Basically, this comedian, sort of plays like a character version of himself and tries to get businesses to do weird stuff in the name of marketing, and it's very funny.
That sounds interesting. Is it just on regular TV? Like I gotta catch it on Netflix or Hulu or?
No, it's pretty difficult to access. It's on Comedy Central,
Oh yeah, they don't.
which I guess is basic cable. I don't know.
That is basic cable. It might be on Hulu. I'll have to see if I can find it. My wife and I we watch Once Upon a Time in the fall. Star Trek is releasing a new series in January, so I'm excited about that. I'm a big Star Trek fan. So we'll have during the fall football and Once Upon a Time, and then
Cool.
in the winter time Star Trek will start up. But during all that time, we're doing AGT. So
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other show on that we could do a podcast about.
yeah, I think we're gonna have our hands full with AGT each week. So, do you have anything else to finish off this podcast?
I hope everyone has a great. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. And if you can't watch the next episode with us live recording it, then the archive will be there on YouTube for you to consume if you want it before it's out in the stream.
Yeah, we're hoping to have a good audience. I'm really excited about it. So until Tuesday night when Cody Mims will be live during the performances, I can't tune in for that. I wish I could, but I know you're excited about Tuesday night. You're gonna you're gonna yell and scream at the TV that you want them to do better or that they didn't do good or whatever it is you do while you're watching the show. You all get to see that live. I'll have to tune in the next day and watch it after I watch the show itself. And then Wednesday night, I hope everyone can tune in.
Yeah,
We'd appreciate it. So
I feel like the Tuesday night audience might be mostly comprised of people who are looking for streams of the show, but it'll still be good.
yeah, it'll be so exciting, so much fun. So until Tuesday and Wednesday, we will see you all then. Have a great weekend.
Vote with your hearts.